Hey guys, Rick down here with Holy Moly Outdoors. It is June 22nd, the second day of summer, and one of the great opportunities we have that is now just opened is sockeye fishing. Our rivers are going to start filling up with these fish here, and it's a great chance for you guys to get off the bank or out of a boat to chase these fish. Whether you're in the north side of Washington or the south side of Washington, there's an opportunity for you guys to go chase river sockeye. So today we're going to break this into a two-part series. We're going to talk about the Columbia River as one. We're going to talk about the Skagit River as a second. So let's first break down a little bit of the Columbia River. Columbia River is a great opportunity for those guys who can get the chance to get out. Lots of bank access, tons of boat water to access as well, and it really provides a great opportunity for everybody to get out. Columbia River is unique in that it is tidally influenced, and those tides can impact the better bite throughout the day. Now, my experience of fishing down there has kind of been that hour before high tide to hour after, or even when really it's the hour of transition to low and the hour of transition after. What you're really looking for on the Columbia is some current movement. So sometimes you can even plan, the second hour after, or hour and second hour after high tide, or the hour and second after low tide. Vice versa, you're looking for current really. And so the Columbia River sockeye, you have an opportunity to catch those. In addition, you have Chinook and you have steelhead as well. You need to check the regulations though to see what's open and available, but in this case we're talking sockeye, so your opportunity to chase these guys is great, and there's usually plentiful numbers to keep you guys interested. One of the fun things to do, like I said, if you're a banky, is to plunk for these guys. It's the most productive, most effective way to do it. It is very simple. You do not need a ton of gear. I will show you just basically my setup that I use. A basic medium heavy salmon steelhead rod that I would use in the river normally is what's going to be a great plunking rod. You don't need to go spend a lot of money. If you already have some of this gear, this will work great for you. So I have just my old trusty Lamiglass medium heavy rod. It works great for ounces of 6 to 8 for plunking. If I need to go something heavier, I'm going to bring a different rod. Your weight, ounces that you're using, depends all upon current flow, so keep that in mind as well. But I basically have just the salmon steelhead setup with a larger Abu Garcia reel here. Spool up a 25-pound test. Now the reason for 25-pound test mainline is because you really don't know what you may hook. It could be a big steelhead, it could be a big Chinook. You want to have a little bit of backbone in your main line to be able to help you out. Now what I run a lot of the time if I'm fishing the Columbia River is a dual lock and some kind of a bead chain swivel. And I'll show you guys here. This is essentially what I'm running, and it makes it really easy for me to switch out rigs, and really I can fish multiple on the Columbia. With the Columbia River itself, guys, keep in mind you can have up to 3 hooks on your line. All have to be barbless, but you can play it however you want to do it. So one very effective rig that I like to use is just your standard spreader rig, and what I'll do is I will pick up myself some of these, which are just your standard Danielson. You get 2 to 3 in a pack for a couple bucks, makes it really easy. And you'll take your snap swivel here with that dual lock, and you'll clip it right on to your swivel there. You can see that. Lock it in. It gives you a great slot there with that bottom drop snap to put on your weight. Tie on your leader directly. You can also use snap swivels or dual locks onto that as well for quick change. 18 to 20 inches down to your leader rig. And I like to use a spin and glow if I'm chasing sockeye in particular of size 4 or size 6. What you see here is a little nifty rig that I threw on a couple extra beads and put an Olympic tackle kokanee snack on there to really entice this rig itself with some UV, some different color, and once I put a little bit of bait on there, it'll fish very effectively. So this is one way to do it for just a single hook rig. Don't have to get anything fancy. You want to make sure your hooks are barbless and pinched, but a very effective way to do it. Another effective way to fish this, a gentleman showed me down there a couple years back, is a similar style in rigging, but now we're going to use it on a slider. I just have your basic sliding snap here, and I have braided line across this 2.5–3 foot section. On the bottom of that I have tied a swivel, and then a snap swivel connects directly to my leader. What you'll find on the end again is a Yakima bait spinning glow. This one's got a double hook setup. Now what's unique about this rig, I can cover 2 areas of the water column. So that weight will sit on the bottom here at that snap swivel. This bait floats up off the bottom. Now that 2.5–3 feet up, I have a 3-way swivel, a little piece of tubing. This could be a 3-way for a spreader bar. But then this runs another rig, but it doesn't all tangle up here on me. Runs another rig here to another spinning glow setup. So I can effectively fish 2 areas of the water column with 3 single hooks, all barbless. This one happens to be 18 inches up the line, and you want it, if you can see this guys, to be where out in the water that's not going to tangle up with the weight, and that bottom one is going to be covering that bottom area of the water column. So now you have effectively fished 2 areas. You can target 2 different species. Could be whether sockeye or steelhead. You have that covered. So that's 2 basic riggings that really are effective from shore fishing on the Columbia River. One thing to keep in mind, you want a good bell to help you detect a bite, because a lot of the time you're not going to be looking at your rods as that's going off, so you want to make sure that you are ready for that fish. Something to keep in mind too, we'll talk about weights here. Your typical plunking weights off a bank are going to be these. Pyramid style, 6 to 8 to 10 ounces, whatever your current dictates. That's going to be typically what you're throwing at that bottom of your plunking rig. But in the recent last year or so, there's really been a push for going away from lead for environmentally friendly reasons, but also for personal health reasons. You can go to something like one of these Dave's Tangle Free. You have anywhere from 1 ounce up to 24 ounces. You can cover all different bases. They're all steel weights, rubber coated, so you guys don't have to worry about getting sick or any health concerns with handling lead. These are a great weight for off the bank. And when we get into our scent selection, I have a couple here that I really like. And Sporty makes some great liquid scents as well as some chapsticks you can put on your spinning glows to really make them enhanced. Because at the end of the day, one thing that I can tell you about sockeye is their keen sense of smell. Frankly, just like kokanee, they are really particular in their selection of scents. So when you're using good bait, and for sockeye I'd recommend sand shrimp, coon shrimp, prawns, or even your grocery store shrimp. If you cure those up, have some good scents on hand like I just showed you, you can be really effective when those fish are running through. Now we can turn over to boat fishing on the Columbia. Now if you're boat fishing on the Columbia, you're anchor fishing, and really this is a completely different thing from the bank, because the bank guys have it easy. All you're doing, find a good location of a travel lane, pick your spot and go. Boat guys have the opportunity to travel wherever they want to. You can go sit on top of an area for a while, you can go pick it all up, move to the next spot. So boat guys have an advantage to some extent of finding out where those fish are running. You can go to the other side of the river, different location 100 yards down. You guys can find a spot that's going to work best for you. The method though is essentially the same thing. You're plunking out of a boat, and now you're using everything in a rod holder off of the side of the boat as opposed to the bank guys. So typically a bank guy's rod holder is going to be some kind of PVC contraption just like this. A buddy of mine made it. Thank you, Brad. Whereas your boat rod holders are going to be anchored across in your gunnels. So what are you looking for? Well, for sockeye, like I've said, they run pretty shallow. Anywhere from 12 to 5 feet are going to be your productive areas. You're going to find these fish running right under your boat, so trying to be quiet as you can while you're fishing is very effective. But you're going to really only need a few simple things. You can run the exact same rig, the single or the double, and you're just going to be dropping them off the side of your boat, hoping that you're going to find a good traveling lane and go ahead. Same kind of bait, same kind of sense. So think of it as when you're plunking out of a boat for sockeye, you're still trying to pick a good traveling lane closer to shore. But us boat guys, if you have the opportunity, you can cover a lot of water. Same size spinning glows in that size 4 to 6. You can really do well. And colors, we'll go over 1 second here. An opportunity with these Yakima bait spinning glows to really pick and choose what you want. Some very particularly good colors are ones like this one. This is called Barbie, pink and purple. You have some that do very well in your darker colors. Your black and purple, black and pinks, watermelon, whether it's with mylar blades or just by themselves, straight pink, straight red. You guys can kind of let the fish determine it for you guys. So one other thing I want to keep in mind here, guys, and point out is if you're out of a boat, one of the main things you want to always have with you is a good quality net. One that is telescoping, really helps you guys out in the long run. This one happens to be a Kufa net, extends really far out, has a good hoop on it. Really will help you out because at the end of the day, sockeye have really super soft mouths, just like their local kokanee cousins. So keep that in mind if you're bank fishing or out of the boat. Keeping the fish's head in the water and not putting too much pressure on them will help put more fish on the bank and in the boat. If you have the ability to bring a net, I would do so. It may save you a couple fish. Whether you're out of a boat or off the bank, the Columbia River sockeye fishery is something you should go try. I've had a lot of fun doing it myself. Throw up a couple pictures of the ones that I've caught, and really hope you guys enjoy the time out in the water. Thanks for watching. Let's go to part 2 as we talk about the Skagit River. Fish on!